we will see that is a knowledge representation in artificial intelligence. If we talk about this topic is again more important topic in the AI because if we're talking about the artificial intelligence, knowledge will be the core part to represent your information or represent your model. Because without the knowledge, how you can represent your any model? That is very important point. So knowledge representation in AI, we can describe the representation of the knowledge, and basically it is a study of how the beliefs or intentions and judgment of an intelligent agent can be expressed suitably for automated reasoning. That is a very simple terms we have to keep in mind. It is just nothing which is study of the our learning in terms of the belief, intention and judgment, and how an intelligent agent can express. These are the some parameters. So as a being a human person, I have the some knowledge. So how I can represent the my knowledge? So what is the belief? What is the intention? What is judgment I have in my mind in terms of the knowledge? As a being a human person, as a being a human being, I can express for automated reasoning. So that is a knowledge representation, and one of the primary purpose of the knowledge representation includes modeling intelligent behavior of an agent. That is a very simple point we have to keep in mind. Suppose you are more intelligent than me, so you have the more intention, more judgment and more belief in your mind toward the particular topic or particular concern. But if talk about the myself, I don't have a much knowledge. It means I'm not much aware about the various points, so I cannot explain. So this is the point. So knowledge representation means whatever the knowledge you have in your mind, you can represent, and same thing we can express to the our model by AI. So that is the example. That is the point. We have the knowledge representation. Knowledge representation reasoning. So I'm adding the one more word to the knowledge representation, that is reasoning. So next term we have to keep in mind at the time of the interview, anyone can ask you, you know idea about the knowledge representation, then what is mean by the knowledge representation and reasoning? And that can be represented by the information from the real world for a computer system to understand and then utilize this knowledge to solve the complex problem. So here I'm adding the one word reasoning, not a representation and reasoning. So what is the intention of to add this word? To solve the my problem, to solve the my complex problem. So I'm adding this term to the my computer system. So I'm trying to solve the my complex problem. So what is the keeping of the knowledge by the computer system or model to solve the problem? So it's like talk about the machine learning model. So if I'm talking about the machine learning model, so why I'm following such model? Because the model is composed by the some knowledge, and I can put the my in problem to the my model, and my model will generate the better outcomes or better result to solve my problem. That is the way we have a knowledge representation and reasoning. That is important. So we can utilize this knowledge to solve the complex with the real life problem as well, like communicating with the human in the natural language. So as I can understand Hindi, English, and I don't am unable to understand the language. So I can use the intermediator by which I can do. So my model will help you to do so. Knowledge and representation AI is just not about the storing the data as we are thinking about right now. Just we have the lots of data sets, so that is a knowledge representation. So we are not concerned about the only data will be used to storing purpose in the knowledge. It is just allowed to our machine or computer system to learn from the various knowledges, and that is known as the learning from the experiences. So machine learning, what is coming from this point, a machine that learns from the past experiences. So the machine will try to keep the information in form of the knowledge as well. So and that improve the machine behavior as well, and that is known as the intelligent behavior. So as a human being, I have the knowledge. So how I can improve the my knowledge from the experience? So my behavior, my intellectual properties will be improved. That is the reason. So knowledge representation will come here, and that is very important point we have to understand in our machine learning as well as the artificial intelligence course, and that is a idea about the knowledge representation. Now, the point I'm speaking here is it clear to all right now? The knowledge representation AI is what actually? This point is clear right now to all the students. What is mean by the knowledge representation? Knowledge representation means we are talking about to represent the knowledge in form to solve the complex problem. So we have a knowledge representation reasoning. Yes, tell me right now. Is it clear to all right now?
Yes, sir.
You have. Okay. So if talk about the different kind of the knowledge that need to be represent an AI includes. So every concept or every topic will form by the some important points. So what are the other its factor by which we can understand the such topic in more detail? That is the object we can say event, performance, fact, meta knowledge, and knowledge base. You have already gone through the various subjects. So let me right now. Have you studied the database management system course? Have you studied? Yes, tell me. Have you studied just in the database management system, or you're just studying this semester?
No, sir, we haven't studied.
Oh, so no problem. So before that, let me explain just idea about the database. So database is just nothing. There's a platform. There is a storing area where we can store the information of the respective solutions problem, or we can say solve problem solution into the some device that is a disk we can say, and this will contain the some data. So we are storing the data into the disk, so the computer, the person can utilize the data to solve the problem. So that is a place which is known as a database. And to manage the system, we have a database management system. So because we are talking about a system, so there will be system to manage the database. We have to study the database management system. Apart from all those or these topics which are able to so see in the screen, all these terms coming from the database management system topic subjects, of course. So first we have the object. So here we are talking about the different kind of the knowledge that need to represent the AI. So if talking about the object-based knowledge, so what is mean by the object-based knowledge? Object-based knowledge, we are speaking about the all the facts that define the object or that explain the object about the our world domain. Just like example, I can say if talking about an instrument, a musical instrument. So musical instrument, I'm taking the example of the guitar. So guitar contains the string, trumpets, and are the brass instrument. Okay, so these are the information we are keeping. So these are the objects. So guitar is an object which contains the some details. What are these? It contains the strings, trumpets. Okay, so these would be in form of the brass. Another part may be into the metal, or other part could be in form of the wooden. That is the point. If talking about the event-based knowledge, so what kind of the information we can handle by the event-based knowledge? So first, when we have the what is the action I'm performing by the such event. Just like example, I'm just moving from one point to another point. So I'm occurring an event. So this is what is action? Moving. So moving is what? Moving is my action, and that is also part of the knowledge representation. Performance. It describes the behavior which involves the knowledge about how to do things. So I can measure the performance. So how I can measure performance? So I have the idea, I have the knowledge to measure the performance. So there are certain parameters, and those parameters are representing the knowledge representation. That is the point. So knowledge can be represented by the one of the following points. So first one is the object events we have discussed. Now performance we are discussing. Now, if talk about the meta knowledge is just representing, just describe the knowledge about the knowledge. It means whatever knowledge you know, and then we can also represent such knowledge that is known as the knowledge about knowledge. That is known as the meta knowledge. So, meta knowledge idea you can take or you can understand from the metadata. So, in the metadata, what we have data about the data. So just like from the metadata, we have a meta knowledge. So it is just knowledge about the what we know. Now we have a facts. Facts means the real thing we are discussing. So truth we can say. So facts are the truth about the real world and what we are representing. Maybe in the object and the event and performance we can represent some false information. But what are the facts? That is very important point. So I can't spread the such news which are not represent the fact. So on my knowledge, I can share only those information which are following to the fact. Just like look at this example, I'm speaking something to you. I'm just telling to something to you. So whatever I'm speaking, that is the fact because these things are really exist and these things are important. But I'm speaking you just so I'm telling some false statement. So that is not my knowledge. So that would be knowledge, but that would be the false knowledge. So while our knowledge would be the fact, or our knowledge would be the true. So based on the sharing the correct knowledge. So information can also be or data can also be incorrect. So our knowledge or information would also be correct. So suppose you are getting the information from the wrong person and who don't have a good knowledge. So maybe your direction will be into the wrong direction and you are also having the wrong knowledge. And that is not a good thing. So other knowledge representation can be understood by the fact. Next, we have the knowledge base. Knowledge base is just telling to us the central component of the knowledge base is the knowledge base, and it is represented by the KB. And if you have the example of the knowledge representation, then you can easily see all the things. Before for this one, I would like to show this diagram. Look at this diagram where we have a knowledge and we have a different types of the knowledge: structured knowledge, knowledge procedure knowledge, and meta knowledge, and heuristic knowledge, and declarative knowledge. So knowledge also having the various flower where knowledge base is most important part. So from this diagram we can say what kind of the knowledge we can represent. So first one was the object, next one was the event, next one was the performance, and next one was the meta knowledge and facts we have seen. Now we were discussing about the knowledge base. So knowledge base we can say that could be the basic or central or core component of our knowledge base system, and it is representing by the KV shortened way. And the knowledge base is a group of the sentence. So here sentence we can say that would be technical term, but that is not equal to the English statement. Just sentence we are making. Sentence means we are taking as just example. If I'm representing something to you, so what are the points I have in my knowledge, so I can share you in terms of the sentence. So sentence means we are talking about the some group of the knowledge I'm sharing with you in terms of the sentence. That is a way you can understand. So knowledge base could be the core part where other information may pass to the other society or other groups. If I'm remembering an example, I can share you. When talk your when you are facing any kind of problem. So what you will do, you will talk your parents. Why it is different? Because they have idea, they have experience, they have a knowledge to deal with deal with the such kind of the problem. So you, as a being a user or a being a name user or novice person, you try to ask your model. So who is the model? Your parents. So try to solve the problem. You try to get the solution of the complex problem from the knowledge. And who is holding the knowledge? The model. That is representing the knowledge. That is your parent. So knowledge base is what? So the parent or the model which are holding the knowledge in terms of the large volume. So definitely I can get the better solution. And suppose that your parents are also not able to sort out a problem, so you will ask your grandfather because he has lots of experience. Since last 50 to 60 years, he is spending on the such area, so he can explain. That is it. So the right person will give you the right knowledge, and from the fact knowledge will be applicable at that moment. So there are the various way where we can represent the knowledge. So these are the some points we have to keep in mind. Then we can understand the different type of the knowledge. So before understanding the different type of the knowledge, just tell me right now the meaning of the knowledge representation and what kind of knowledge we can have. Is it clear to all right now? The theory portion is clear to all right now? Yeah, tell me, you have any problem? So you can answer. Okay. So now let me explain more detail about a different type of the knowledge. Here we have seen that what kind of the knowledge we can representation, and same we have the different kind of knowledge. First one you can see declarative knowledge. Declarative knowledge it just includes the concept. fact and object that can be expressed in the declarative sentence. So whatever the idea you have, you can represent by the facts and some object, and you can express your structured knowledge. It is a basic problem solving knowledge, and it describes the relationship between the concept and object. So what is the structure I am following? I am trying to solve my problem. So by the knowledge I can represent, that is the concept I have, and I am using the object. Next one, we have here procedural knowledge. This is responsible for knowing how to do something and includes the rules, strategy, and procedure. So if you remember our example where we have seen the search strategy. So in the search strategy, we have been applied some rules. We have been used some strategy. We have some procedures. Procedure means just sequence of the our solving facts or solving statement. Those are also the process algorithms as well. So what is the procedure I'm following to get the my knowledge to represent the my knowledge? So I'm having the procedure knowledge, meta knowledge. Meta knowledge just defines the knowledge about the different type of the knowledge. Suppose a process knowledge defines the structured knowledge. So here what I'm following the two type of knowledge, but followed by the some approach. Process knowledge defines the structured knowledge, or structured knowledge may define the procedure knowledge. So this is what this is known as the meta knowledge, knowledge about the knowledge. Heuristics knowledge. Heuristics knowledge represents the expert knowledge in the field of the various subject, and where we can use the heuristics function to evaluate the our knowledge. At that part, we have seen the our heuristic function as well. So these are the some important type of the knowledge representation in artificial intelligence, and we can represent such thing by the cycle. And here we have this one. So you can see the one point. First, I'm using declarative knowledge. Second, I'm using structured knowledge. Then I'm using the procedural knowledge. Then I'm using the meta knowledge, and I'm also using the heuristic knowledge. So if I need to move to the heuristic or the declarative, I can move again to declaring the my knowledge into the terms of the some objects. So these are the various type of the knowledge we can have. And here I'm explaining the some different type of the knowledge here in simple. So from this point, the cycle of the knowledge representation is simple, but we can see is it okay to understand. So these are the various type of the knowledge we can use. But my question is not ended here. My question is again, I'm asking very simple question. How we can represent the our knowledge? That is the point. So here we have some behavior terms. I'm speaking about the perception, learning, reasoning, and planning and education. These could be the basic behavior of our intelligence. And by intelligent behavior, we can represent the cycle. So cycle we can make, but we can represent knowledge. To represent knowledge, some intelligent behaviors are required. It is just like simple example. Suppose I'm speaking something to you with the help of my knowledge about the artificial intelligence course, but I don't have a good perception, I don't have a proper learning, I don't have a reasoning, I don't have planning. So how I can share the my knowledge? Is it true? In this case, many times you have been faced. Suppose you are sharing to us at the time of the vibe or at the time of the something, or at the time of the interview. You don't know anything about any topic, but you are telling to something to the interview person. Sir, I have idea, but without idea, you're telling something. It means you're just trying to share your knowledge without having the good intelligent behavior. So you will be lucky, then you will get a job. Else, interview person will ask you, do not share the false knowledge because they know the idea. So the knowledge representation can be done by the some intelligent behavior. So what are those? Perception, learning, reasoning, planning, and education. So this is the some things we have to keep in mind. Okay. So before jumping to this point right now, we have a now big topic in this uh, in this topic, that is a knowledge representation in AI. So far, whatever I'm speaking, is it clear to all? It's just you need to ask anything, so you can ask. Else, we can explain the knowledge representation cycle in artificial intelligence. So I will share an image, and from that image, I will explain the all the idea step by step. So first we have the perception, we have the other concept. Yes, tell me. You have any problem? So you can ask. Just tell me right now. Anyone who need to ask any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So good. So I would like to explain this point right now. So this is the example. That is a knowledge representation example. What would be the flow? Sometimes this is not representing the flow diagram, but in the exam time, I can ask the simple question just what would be the flow of the knowledge representation. So you can use this diagram. I'm speaking about the flow. I'm not speaking about the flow chart. So you can explain this diagram with help of some suitable example. So I will be happy to see something from your side. Now, you can see this is a perception. Perception is the first intelligent behavior. So the perception component retrieves the data and information from the environment. So yes, this is true, just like the input. So you are just seeing something with the help of the various sources, and based on the various sources, you're trying to get some input. So just like we're talking about the some sensor. So being help of the camera sensor, I can read the image. I can take the pictures of the various images, various environment. So I will keep the information in terms of the image. So this is known as the perception. So perception component retrieve data or information from the environment with the help of the this component. So you can retrieve data from the environment and find out the sources of the noises and check if the AI was damaged by anything or not. Because there is no guarantee in this world what are the images or whatever the information we are getting, which is the correct. That data can be erroneous, or that data or the information whatever we have may have the noise. So our information will not be 100% correct. It may have the noise data. So the perception is more important. So perception is required. So whatever the information they are getting. So perception is also dealing with the some finding the noisy data. And it also define that how to respond when any sense has been damaged or detected. So why I'm just requesting to many times that my camera sensor just get the image, but my camera was damaged due to some technical issue. So I'm not able to get the data in the image form. So I'm able to get your audio only. It has happened many times while facing the examination. So I called the many times students, why I'm not able to see you? Why? Because due to some technical issue, I'm not able to see your video. I'm not able to see you. So maybe. So some students just requested me, sir, there is glitching coming to my camera. So can we reconnect or can we destructible? So that is the way. So perception means whatever the I'm seeing, I'm not able to see properly. I'm not able to get the input from your side. So that is the reason. So then we will talk about the learning. So before learning, the perception should be clear. So learning component that learns from the captured data in terms of the image or video or audio or any kind of form data we can have. So learning component that learns the data, learns from the captured data by perception component. The goal is to the goal of this to build the computer that can be taught instead of the programming them. Learning focus on the process of the self improvement, and in order to learn new things, the system requirement or the knowledge acquisitions, inference acquisitions of heuristics, fast searches are will be there. So we can improve the learning by applying the knowledge acquisitions, inference acquisitions of the heuristics and fast searching. So these are some mechanisms by which we can improve our learning. Knowledge acquisition means how to acquire the knowledge from the our data, which is received by the perception. Inference acquisition means how we can acquire the inference after processing our knowledge-based data from the knowledge base. So, no, knowledge acquisition basically is a process that is acquire the knowledge and that store the data, that store the knowledge, not data, that store the knowledge in some place that is known as the knowledge base. And from the knowledge base we try to acquire the our some result, and that result can be known as the inference of the heuristics. No, heuristics, it means if you are applying the heuristic search mechanisms to sort out our problem to get our solution, then we have inference of the heuristic. And we can also apply the another fast search mechanism. That is the way. Now, these are the diagram as explained the perception, and then we have the learning. So learning is now connected. Just look at this diagram, which is connected by the knowledge representation. So we were talking about the knowledge representation, but before that, we need to understand from where we are getting the data. So perception and learning are the two important factors. So here we have seen. Now, in this case, the main component in the our knowledge representation, this cycle, you can say this is a diagram which is able to see in the cycle form. Okay, so in the dotted box, you can see we have a double arrow between the knowledge representation and reason. That is very important point you have to keep in mind. So knowledge representation reasoning will also having the dual arrow bidirectional, we can say. So I was talking about the main component of this cycle, that is a knowledge representation and reasoning. That shows or which shows the human-like intelligence in the machines. Knowledge representation is all about understanding intelligence by the using the intelligent behavior. And instead of trying to understand or build brains from the bottom up, its goal is to understand and build intelligent behavior from the top down and focus on what an agent. Agent means a person needs to know in order to behave intelligently. So here an agent could be a object, an agent could be a machine, an agent could be a person in a real life scenario. And it also defines how automated reasoning procedures can make this knowledge available as needed. So the more important component of this cycle or this diagram, that would be the knowledge representation, and we will need to consider this one reasoning. So with the help of the knowledge representation, we try to sort out the problem as a human being, as a human person. We will try to sort out the problem. So whatever reasoning I am following, I can follow the any reasoning. I can find any kind of the reasoning sources to sort out my problem and will connect to the knowledge representation. So this would be into the form of a cycle. The next we have the planning and executions component. So these two components, you can say, in these two components are depend on the analysis of knowledge representation. What kind of knowledge I'm representing and reasoning, and what kind of the plan I can do. So based on my knowledge, I can plan something like this. So while solving the problem in the tutorial or any kind of a live activity, so what you will do, you will use your brain. That is the point you have to keep in mind. You will use brain or logic to sort out the problem. So how you can improve the logic, how you can improve or how you can apply the logic and knowledge. Because without having the knowledge, you can't sort out the problem. But you have a knowledge, you have an idea, you have just information in detail proper way, you can able to sort out the problem. Just like a mathematical problem. You don't know the differential integration, then how you can sort out the problem? You will not able to understand the problem and you are not able to sort out the problem because you don't know the meaning of the differential integral. But you have already done the lots of the practice to sort out the problem on the basis of the differential integral. So if your faculty will give you an exercise to sort out the problem based on the differential integral, so based on knowledge, you will try to understand the problem and you will try to acquire the knowledge to sort out the problem. So that is known as the knowledge acquisitions to sort out the problem, and that is known as the knowledge representation you are using in the EI. So in the EI, same thing we can representing or we can done by the machines. So machines can also use the knowledge representation as well in terms of the storing information to database or data set. So planning education we can do, but without having the proper information, how we can do? So we can do the proper analysis based on our knowledge, information, knowledge based. So here planning and education will be two important components. And once the planning is complete done, so final stage would be the execution of the entire process. This is clear to all right now? These steps are clear to all right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I have just simple diagram that I would like to explain. But before that, you can share me an example how we can understand the knowledge representation with the help of the all these steps. Because at the time of the interview, this could be the simple example to understand what could be the various components. Various components in the knowledge representation AI we can have to sort out our problem. So if you're remembering an example, then you can also share with me. Before sharing my idea and before sharing my knowledge, you can say over here today. Before sharing into my knowledge or my idea about the problem, just you have any problem, you can sort it. Tell me right now. Anyone who is just remembering anything, any points, you can share me any in general way. Just tell me. Your inputs are more valuable over here to understand many topics in detail as well. So I'm expecting to everyone you will speak something. Because you are not speaking anything, so it seems to mean me uh, just you are sleeping. So avoid your sleeping, just listen to it. Yes, tell me. Just tell me any problem, which is composed by the all these kind of the things. Yes, tell me. Perception, learning, knowledge representation, reasoning, planning, and execution. Just use these steps to sort out the problem. And what are these steps? This is known as the cycle of the knowledge representation AI. Okay, so just you can use these points, these components. Okay, I can write here for a better way. These are known as the components of. These are known as the components of knowledge representation. Knowledge representation in AI. Knowledge representation in AI. So you can use these components and you can tell me right now. Yes, tell me. You have any problem right now? These top, or is it clear? Yes, tell me.
It's clear, sir.
Okay, so but from my knowledge, I would like to tell something. Uh, there is a person. Okay, just look at this point. There's a person. There is a student. We can say the student. Okay. So this is a student. He has to face an exam. Okay. So the student, I can write here something here. The student has to face exam. I'm taking the real life scenario, so the concept will be clear to you. The student has to face exam. So what he will apply, what he or she will apply. So first point I can write like this one. First point is what? Perception. In the perception, what kind of the input he will take? The student will take input inputs from uh, question paper question paper to know about the questions, to know about the question, what kind of the question was asked by the respective faculty about the questions. Suppose you have any problems, you are not able to understand such problems. So what you will do, you will request just faculty member, just say, could you elaborate what kind of the things I can sort out and some values I'm missing. So this is your perception. Is it true or not? Tell me right now. This is what this is known as a perception. Am I right or not? Tell me yes or no. This is the first step. The perception means the student will take the inputs from the question paper to know about the questions. If there is some problem or there's some you are having some problem, so you will just the values in missing something like this. So this is the first step. Now it is clear right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm taking this next step. In the next step, you will apply the learning. So what is mean by the learning? Just can anyone tell me right now? You will apply the learning. So what is the learning sense? Just tell me right now. Just tell me right now. In the learning, I can speak, no problem. Learning means student will student will uh, understand how he will solve the questions, because from the learning he know, okay, so this is the numerical problem. I can assume the data, I can sort out the problem, I can solve this problem within the 15 minutes, or this problem I can show within 10 minutes. So from the learning, so from the learning means it defines the, basically it defines the past experience. Suppose that you don't have any idea then how you can solve the problem, then what you will do, you will choose the or question that would be theoretical. But in the or part, or the question is also having by the numerical value, and you are not aware about the such part there, it means you are lack in the such learning. So learning is the next step. And after this point, what you will do, you are getting the thing. Okay, sir, I have idea of how can solve the problem. So this is the problem, knowledge. So you will use your brain. Here we have a knowledge representation, and this knowledge representation will be connected by the reasoning as well. So simultaneously, okay. So what you will do parallelly, you will use a knowledge representation and reasoning. So I can put into the box. So the my information can be easily understood and similar to the my previous diagram. So here I'm taking for just basic thing. So now here what I do with the help of the knowledge representation reasoning, will the student will try to solve the question, solve the question. Here what we have, the I'm using what, solve the question. In the learning what I understand, student will understand, and their perception, and student will take the inputs. So please keep in mind the words are very very important. Student will try to solve the question based on questions, based on his or her knowledge. Okay, I'm using the he, so I'm using the his knowledge, what he know, what he knows, and his knowledge, and some reasoning. Some reasoning means with the help of the intelligent behavior. So this is the point. And after understanding these points, okay, he understand. Okay, I can solve this problem. So final, he will write something on the sheet. So what is the next step? Next step is, yes. What is the next step? Are you remembering the point? What is the next step? Planning. So he will apply the planning and execution. He will plan. Okay. So within the 10 minutes I can sort out this problem. Within 20 minutes I can sort out this problem. And then after planning, he will execute. It means he will write something on the sheet. That is a simple example. This is what, this is a real life example. This is an example. So what I'm doing, I'm sharing to you people this example from the what? From the my knowledge. I understand, okay, the student cannot easily understand by the theory, so I must take an example. This is my perception. So from the learning, so I understand the what kind of example I must take in. So I've taken the example from my past experience. So that is my learning, and I'm sharing my knowledge and reasoning to try to get out the or figure out the all the diagram over here. So that is my knowledge representation from my mind, so as from the human being, from my intelligent behavior. I'm short on the problem, and I'm planning and I have the executing over here. So my these steps are clear. So now it is clear to all right now. This is a good example. Whatever I'm doing here, that is also part of the knowledge representation. Now it is clear to all right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so next we have the point, what is the relationship between the intelligence and knowledge? Because students need to ask this question. What is the difference between the knowledge and intelligence? So just you can take see this image and tell me what is the difference between the intelligence and knowledge. You can speak anything, whatever you have in your mind. So you can also represent knowledge that could be the false, that could be true, or that could be meaningless. But you are speaking, that is very, very important. So it means you are not speaking, you are not showing your knowledge. So you are just hiding your knowledge, maybe. So you have to speak something. Okay, so speak and tell me. So how we can differentiate knowledge and intelligence?
So, for
Hmm.
knowledge, all the skills which we know, but intelligence is how we apply or present our skills.
Hmm. Okay. Yes, I need the other inputs from the other students as well. Just tell me. How, what is mean by the knowledge and what is mean by the intelligence? So how these two things are related to each other? Just tell me.
So intelligence can be like it can be predefined set of things we gain further.
Okay. Okay. So tell me more. Uh, can we say like this one? If I'm writing something here for betterment, then you can easily understand. We have two words. I was talking about the knowledge. I was talking about the knowledge. I'm writing here. Knowledge is what? Knowledge is nothing which is the stored, we can say stored information uh, on on the basis of some problem or some data. So we can say this is stored information. So we can have a multiple. So stored informations, we can say stored information on the basis of experience. So we can say, this experience, and this information, stored information, the machine learning, we will use the data set. This is the knowledge we see in the data set, but we will see this is the machine learning. In the machine learning, but in the human being, what we can say in the our brain. So uh, as a human being, all the stored information will be managed by the our brain. Okay, not brain's brain only, but correctly, only brain. So this is a stored information. But the point is here, we have the stored information like this one. Okay, so we have a lots of the information, we have a lots of the information, we can also have the lots of information. And if I'm storing this information into the machine on a disk, so this is known as the knowledge base. What is the base on which my knowledge are stored? But my question is here, what is mean by the intelligence? Well, what is intelligence? So what is mean by this intelligence word? So intelligence means we can apply. So that is the point. Apply. That is the simple terms. Apply uh, intelligent behavior. Okay, so we can have the many intelligent behavior, just like the listening, understanding, the reasoning, by the help of the very senses. So we can apply intelligent behavior, or intelligent behavior using by using knowledge by using knowledge. So if I'm you interrelate these two terms, so by the help of these two interrelate term, I'm able to take a good decision, and with the help of the my decision, I'm able to sort out my problem. Just like this one, I'm taking the simple problem. So I'm giving a problem. So what is the problem? If I'm adding the two and the two, so this is what. So from the my process, when I'm getting the two, I'm getting two, and I'm also getting the plus. It means I have to do the addition. So with help of the mind knowledge, because from the childhood I'm always learning 2 plus 2 will be the 4, I'm doing the addition. So if I'm applying this plus operator, or this we can say addition operator between the two operands, so I will get an addition of the both numbers. So this would be the my point. So what I'm doing, I'm using my reasoning. That is the point. I'm using my reasoning to get my solution. So what I can get, I can get the 4. So this 4 is coming from my reasoning, and this can be part of the our intelligent behavior, and that can be the understanding. understanding. So after understanding, we are getting the 4. So this 4 is what this 4 is my solution. So first let me understand the problem. So from the my knowledge, from the my perception, from the my learning, I will try to understand the, my problem, and then I can try to solve out my problem. So intelligence and knowledge are the related to each other. So in the real world, knowledge plays a vital role in the intelligence as well as the creating the artificial intelligence, and it demonstrates the intelligent behavior with the help of some reasoning in AI agents or system that could be the machine learning models. It is possible for an agent or machine learning model or system to act accurately on some inputs only when it has knowledge or experience about the input. So this is the speaking term. I'm just speaking about the technical term, but whatever the generalized way I have explained over here on the my screen. So this is the simple concept we have to keep in mind. Now, so in this other example, as you can see on the screen, there is one decision maker and whose actions are justified by sensing the environment and using the knowledge, because with the help of the knowledge, the sensors will be justified by the actions. So which actions or which sensor will be used? So with by the help of the some actions, this particular sensor will be activated. But how it is possible? And it is possible by the knowledge. But if we remove the knowledge part, it will not be able to display any intelligent behavior. So suppose you don't have you don't have a your knowledge, don't have any idea. So how you can able to solve this problem? How you can able to solve the 2 plus 2 problem? Because you don't know, you don't have any idea about the addition number. The child from since childhood you didn't understand the arithmetic operation. So if I'm giving the multiplication, I'm giving the division, then you will not able to sort out the problem because you didn't use such kind of knowledge you don't have. So after removing the knowledge, your intelligence behavior will be zero. That is the point. So you can the relationship between the knowledge and intelligence are important to represent the knowledge representation in AI. So this is the reason I'm explained over here. This one. Now, it is clear to all right now. The terms are clear. The basic idea is clear to all right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first, see, we have some techniques in the AI. In the AI, we have some techniques to knowledge representation. So KR means, okay, I can write over here. This KR means knowledge representation shortened. Else I'm writing here, else you will be confused. So avoid a confusion. This KR means knowledge representation. Yeah. So here we have some techniques. So I'm speaking one by one all the techniques. First one, logical representation. Logical representation is language with some definite rules which deals with the proposition and has no ambiguity in representation. It represents a conclusion based on the various conditions and lays down some important communication rules. And also it consists of precisely defined syntax and semantic, so which support the sound inference. So you have able to see the logical representation and you can understand the syntax and semantic. So can anyone tell me right now, before jumping to the my words, what is mean by the syntax and what is mean by the semantic? Just can anyone tell me right now? Because you already familiar about the many programming language, but you know all people are need to understand this point. What is mean by the syntax and semantic? Use a brain and can use a knowledge to explain your idea. Just tell me right now. What is mean by the syntax and semantic? In a programming language, this is the most important point. So this is the first technique. So can anyone tell me right now? Non syntax and semantic. Yes.
So the syntax means the grammar of anything, and semantics means what it implies.
Hmm.
So,
Uh,
meaning of that.
okay, so if I'm writing in a programming language, I'm taking the simple example. Suppose I'm writing the a plus 2, okay, so b equal to a plus 2. I'm just writing with this one. Is it possible or not? Tell me right now. If a is a character, I'm not taking the a as a variable. So a is a character and b is a variable and 2 is a integer constant. So this is a valid syntax or this is a valid statement or not?
It's an invalid statement.
Invalid statement. So it means I am writing the wrong syntax. Syntax means the legal sentence in our logic. So what we can remove? We can remove its single code. So we can remove its single code. So now my syntax will be the valid. Okay. So what will be my valid syntax? V equal to a plus 2. So here I can say a will be the my variable and b will be the my variable. But here I'm just getting this is my invalid syntax. Okay. So this is my invalid syntax. So logic representation means two terms we have to keep in mind: syntax and semantic. Okay, so this is the point, and this is the value. So now, can you tell me right now what is my the semantic? What syntax is clear? Now tell me what is mean by the semantic word. Just tell me right now. Because syntax are clear, then semantic tell me right now.
So,
Can
if a
yes, tell.
syntax is grammatical correct or it makes sense, then it's
Uh,
semantic.
okay, so semantics we can say some rules. If I'm right, see, I can write like this one. Um, I'm writing very famous simple English statement. Ram is going to market. So okay, so Ram is going to school. This is a very famous statement we have seen many times in the school time. Ram are going to market. This syntax is valid or not? Yes, tell me. This syntax is valid or not? Because I'm writing a statement which is comprising by the noun, verb, and okay. This let me write correctly. Let me write correctly properly. Hmm. Okay, I'm writing a statement. Ram are going to market. So this is the wrong statement as we know. But as a rule of the writing the statement English statement, Ram, this is the noun, this is the verb, and the other parts the we have the adjective and we have the other parts and the noun we have so lots of things there. Is it correct statement? Is it logically? Yes, it is correct. It is a valid statement. Can we say?
Syntactically, it's correct, but
Correct.
semantically, it's not.
Semantic. So here, what is mean by the semantic is telling to us. Semantics means we are following the rules. So rule wise, this is a wrong. So how we can correct this one? We can correct this one because Ram is a singular, so that will not be applicable over here. So here we have to use. So here logic representation is comes in our mind like this way. So if I am implementing the simple or basic utility in the AI, so we have to keep in mind the logic representation. What kind of technique I'm using in the my logic representation. So syntax and semantics should be clear. So that is the reason we have. Those who know it's good, those who don't know, so they have cleared this point right now. So syntax and semantics, the two terms we have to keep in mind while applying the logic representation based technique in the knowledge representation. Now it is clear to right now. Yes, tell me right now. It is clear.
Yes.
Okay. Next we have a semantic network representation. Just tell me right now what is meant by the semantic network. You have already seen in the many times in the fundamental of the computer you have seen. So I would like to ask this question: semantic network. Let me explain theoretically, and then you can think and then tell me the example. Semantic networks works as an alternative of predicate logic for the knowledge representation. And what does it mean by the predicate knowledge? You have no, you have idea, or you don't have any idea. You have idea about the predicate logic or not? You have any idea about the proposition predicate logic? Just tell me yes or no. If you don't have, so I can switch to the first slide to explain this idea, else we can discuss over here. Semantic network, I'm speaking 1 second. Semantic networks work as an alternative of predicate knowledge logic to the knowledge representation. In semantic networks, you can represent your knowledge in form of the graphical network. And the network consists of the nodes representing objects and arc, which describe the relationship between those objects. Okay, in the object-oriented programming you have studied, tell me right now. In the object-oriented programming, C, C++, you have studied or not? Okay, I can ask this question like this. Have you studied or not?
Yes, sir.
So what is inheritance?
Yes, sir.
So what is inheritance? Just tell me right now.
Sir, methods from one class to another.
Okay, so yes, definitely, this is good. So uh, this one, where is this one? I can add one slide over here to explain my idea. Just this one, and then we can discuss. Yeah, this one. See, we are talking about the semantic representation. Semantic representation. What I mean to say, speak about the semantic. Semantic means it is just knowledge which represent the graphical representation. It contains some object and arc. And so that part we have already seen. In the semantic network, semantic network representation. So here we are talking about the two terms. One is node and other one is arc. Okay. So semantic network representation as a network word is coming. So network word we have. Network word we have. So we have to understand the node and arc. So I'm taking a simple example. This person, this is an X person, and who have the budget on the rupees 50,000. Okay, to visit some cities. He has an option. Either he can go by the car or he can go by the other way. I'm taking a simple example, semantic network representation, how we can. But in this case, we have to understand the two part. One is a relation. Do you have any idea about the is a relationship? What is kind of is a relation? Is a relationship, and other one is a kind of relationship. Yes, tell me. Do you have any idea about this point in the object-oriented programming? We have already seen this part. You must be known to into the inheritance. So what this person just try to have some suppose coffee. So you just need to drink the coffee, and he has a good amount of 50,000, so he can able to purchase any kind of the coffee. So this is a coffee, and this coffee is we have. Okay. Just tell me right now. So this person can have X type of the coffee. So X is a so coffee is a X type. So we can use the is a pattern. And it can also have the by type. So this could be is it. So coffee is a by type or coffee is X type. So we can move to such part. So what are the point you're observing over here? Here we have the some arc or node. So this becomes a node, and this is representing by the arc or the line we can say in our way. And this can also compose like this one. Both are the normal coffee type we can say. Normal coffee or a normal drinkable. Okay, so normal drinkable. Okay, so This is the thing. So I'm taking simple example. What kind of the thing you can represent? So for dealing this one, I'm just sharing my example, then the picture will be clear to all. Look at this example. Car is a kind of the pickup truck. Okay, so it is kind of the pickup truck. But Audi is a car. So Audi is a car. So what is a car? I have the Audi, but it is a car. So and the BMW is a car. So just look at the arrow. So these are the two relationships we can represent by the semantic network representation. And BMW and Audi also having the car headlight. So we can also have. And I can suppose I'm extend this one right now. Look at this point. Audi and BMW are having the same color. So color can also have. So we can also represent the color. We can also represent this point. So suppose I can represent sound system. So this sound system is also having by the both car. So yes, Audi has a sound system, and BMW also having the sound system. So this is a relationship we can use in the inheritance. That is the reason I talked about this point right now, because by default inheritance support the is a relationship. I'm the I'm inheriting the properties of the my parent. I'm my parent inheriting the property of the my grandparent. So this is what I'm calling the is a relationship. This is the point. And if another is a kind of the relationship that is representing the that could be the way. So I can use this way. So semantic representation, semantic network representation, we can represent like this one. So could be the another kind of a representation. First one was logic, and next one was a semantic knowledge representation, semantic network representation. Yes. Now these two are clear right now. These two are clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, I can just next we have you can just go to with the frame representation. So what is mean by the frame representation? Yes, I would like to explain over here. Frame representation. Okay, frame representation I can take very simple way, so the picture will be clear to all. I'm making a record. Just keep in mind, I'm making the student number. I'm making the student a record. This is student name and the age of the student and location of the student. This is a single information I'm representing. So can you tell me what I'm doing? I'm making a record. Can you tell me right now? Is it okay? I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Student name is X, Y, Z, W, and Q. So, okay, these are the students. Now it is clear to all right now. So you are you able to see over here? Yes, tell me. Is it
Yes, sir.
visible? Okay, so age I'm taking the randomly is 1980 and 70 and 19. No problem, I'm repeating, and then 16. And the location I'm writing in shortened way just BPI and some people belong to the Nagpur. Okay, some students belong to the Delhi. Some student may belong to the Chennai. So I'm writing shortened way. So what I'm doing, I'm just making the frame. Is it so right now? I'm making a frame. This frame is contained by the some points. So what are the points? Number of the rows, number of the columns. Okay. And this purpose of this to represent the record. So this is a frame. So all these are represented by the column names. Here we have a rows and 1x and 19 in BPL. This is what? This is the our one record. Okay, and this is known as the one record of student that comprises by uh, columns value, columns value. So student number value means 1, columns value means 1, student number. Columns value name X, so we have the student name column, so that is X. And what is the age? That is the column name, that is a 19. What is location? That is a BPA. That is a bookmark, you can say. So this is what is a record. And this is known as the frame representation. And generally I can speak over here, you can easily understand. A frame is nothing which is record-like structures. I have already explained over here, and it consists of a collection of the attributes and values. Okay. Let me clear to all the people right now. And these are known in the very technical term. So student number, student name in the record is known as the attributes. Okay, so these are also known as the attributes. Please keep in mind, these are also known as the attributes or fields in normal way or columns. Okay, so there are many terms in different place columns name. Okay, and of the entity of the world. So as I explained about the student, so entity is what is our student. These are the AI data structure that divides knowledge into the substructure by representing the stereotype situations. So basically, it consists of a collection of slots and slot value of any type and size. So slots may name have the some values that is called as a facet. So here, these either I'm talking about the records. So in the AI, these records also known as the facet of the frame, whatever the frame I have. So this is the point. So there's a frame representation. Now this example is clear rather than theory. This example is clear with the help of some example. Is it clear right now? Frame representation, and that one was the third one. So logical representation we have seen by the semantic and syntax. Semantic and syntax. Semantic network representation we have seen by the our simple example with that was is a relationship and kind of relationship or has a relationship which can known as. Now, if talking about the frame representation, we have seen by our record example. Last one we have the production rules. So can you tell me right now what is mean by the production rules? You have any idea about the production rules? We have already seen, but just explain your idea. Production rules. What is mean by the production rules? You have already seen the production system, so you can understand that part from it. Just tell me. Think and tell me right now what is mean by the production rules based system or knowledge representation. Just tell me right now, students.
There is a set of rules that is used to solve a problem. For example, the water jet problem.
Yes, good. This one is a simple answer. In the production rule, as the name suggests, we have some rules, actions. We have some rule and action. Suppose I am following the rules, so what kind of rule I can apply on the some action? That is the point. So with the help of the rules and action, if I am following a knowledge representation, that is means I am following the production rules. The production rules means the set of the rules and actions which are used to represent the my knowledge, and that is simple answer. You are on the right track. So these are techniques. Okay, production rules we have already seen many times with the various examples, so I'm not focusing on that topic. But logic representation, semantic network representation, frame representation, I have taken the examples. Now you are on the right track. Yes, we could definitely. Butterjump is a good problem. Yes, definitely. So now these techniques of the knowledge representation is clear to all right now. Is anyone any topics you have any problem? So let me know right now.
Dear sir.
Okay, it is clear. Yes. Anyone who have any problems, so let me know right now so we can understand. Tell me right now. So, okay, no problem. So, inspired from the technique of the knowledge representation, we have just some approaches. Okay, I'm just skipping all this way. We already explained representation technique. This is the approach approaches of the knowledge representation. What kind of the approach I can take? So you can understand by this way. Yeah, simple relational knowledge. This relational word, please keep in mind, this word is coming from the database. So let me clear to all. Relational is what actually relations means. Uh, Data will be represented just represented by rows and columns, rows and columns in tabular form. Please keep in mind, I am writing the term very clearly about this relation, but tabular form, and that is known as that is known as a relational. That is known as a relation actually in database. Please keep in mind. So this is the very important term you have to keep in mind. From the relation, we have a relational term. So simple relational knowledge. So I'm representing my information in form of the tabular form. So as you can see over here, the name is employee ID I'm taking. Okay, so I'm taking the random data over here. So I'm taking the column name is employee ID. This is also known as my attributes. This is also known as my fields. Okay, and you can see the 1 point. So which is represented by the variance the 25, 10000, and then 7 months. So this is employee ID. So with the help of the my values, I'm getting the my information into the table form. Simple in relational knowledge representation I can do in form of the columns and rows. So this is the simplest way. In the database management system, you also understand this topic in simplest way. That is the beauty of the database. Inspired from the database, we have a knowledge approach. First approach that is a simple relational knowledge. So you can represent. And we're truly speaking, in the machine learning, any machine learning model you are trying to implement, whatever data set you have in your pocket or in terms of the mobile device or any device, you will also follow this default approach. You will also have the data set in the rows and columns only. So this is the simple approach you can represent your knowledge in the AI. Am I right or not? Tell me. You are representing any data set in the two form only, tables and into tabular form, the rows and column. Whatever the sources you have, tell me. Whatever data set you are downloading, whatever the problem you are following, you just having only this point. That is the relational knowledge you are following. It is clear to all right now? Is it clear to all right now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, good. Next one is inheritable knowledge. Yeah, look at this point. This is an image. So suppose under 19 is I'm just choosing the one node. Okay. Okay. So just look at the two approaches. What is the two approaches? You have been studying the inheritance. So if I'm writing here, so if you are familiar about the inheritance, so let me clear to all this word. Inheritance is a concept that follows bottom up approach. Bottom up approach. Are you remembering something or are you recalling something? So here we can read the statement from top to down. Okay. So Danny and Peter are the two student or two person. We can say so. Danny is just instance of the cricket. Cricket is our class and Danny is our instance. And if football is our class and Peter is our instance. And player is our class that is in a, cricket and football. So these two class are coming from the player. So that is this property we can inherit. So this is the bottom up approach I'm following. And player will be the under 90. So this will be another class. I can make the other class. So multiple inheritance I can follow. I can follow single inheritance. I can follow the hierarchy inheritance. I can follow the hybrid inheritance. So this is the approach when I'm following the inheritance approach. Just look at the inheritable knowledge. In the inheritable knowledge approach, the data must be stored to the hierarchy of a classes and that should be arranged into generalized form. Generalized form means the word please keep in mind generalized form we are coming. It means we are talking about I can write over here for notes for this is a uh, is a approach. we can say generalized form means we are talking about the is approach or hierarchical manner. Also, this approach contains the inheritable knowledge and we show the relation between the instance and class. And what do you mean by the instance and class? You know, so no need to discuss over here. This is known as the instance relations. Now you can see, and I'm writing here. This is a class. This is a class. Again, this is a class, and this is a class. Or in other terms, I can speak over here. Those who are know about this one. Uh, if this is our parent class, so if this is our parent class, so this will be our child, and this could also be child, and this could also be parent for this child. So no problems, we can also have, yeah. So we have inside Danny and Peter. So this inheritance concept which follows the bottom approach. I have already written over here because of the objective programming. Mostly or 80 or 85% depend on the inheritance. That is the reason we are using the object-oriented programming to deal with the real world problem. So this is the problem. This is the second representation here. Now it is clear to all right now. Inheritance, inheritable knowledge. Is it clear to all right now?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. So what is mean by the inferential word? Just can you explain? Then I will come to the next approach or next knowledge approach, representation approach. Inferential knowledge. Can you tell me right now? Inferential, you have already studied into the English courses where you have been follow the inference knowledge. When we have the multiple statement, two statement, two statements. So from the two statement, you try to find the inference. Am I right or not? Tell me yes or no. From the two statement, you try to find the inference. So just tell me right now. Before that, I move to that part. Inference knowledge. The inference knowledge approach represents the knowledge in form of the formal logic, and that can be derived from the manifest also guarantee the correctness. So statement one is a Viren is a cricketer, and all cricketers are athletes. So it can be represented like this one with the help of the by applying the inference rules. And what are the inference rules? You can use some axiom, and with the help of those part you can use this one. So here I am using the for all such state, whatever thing I can use. So for all x equal to cricketer s, that determine into the at least x. Okay, so that is a way. So we can use these two things. So this is what inference. So let me write over here. Inference knowledge. Few things are not written over here, so I'm writing here. Inference knowledge uh, use uses uh, some not axiom. We cannot say this is some rules. Use some rules followed by inference rules. Those are known as the inference rules. Followed by the inference rules, we can say inference rules. And what are those rules? There you can say this one, okay. And you can use a there exist for all. We can use okay for all, and this is known as a there exist. Okay, so these are the various terms you can take. So with help of these 2 points, so statement one, statement two, and this can be represented like this one, cricketer. So cricketer is a period. We can represent like this way. Inference knowledge, and most important inference knowledge. This is the most important. Why? That part we will see later on. Why inference knowledge is more, better or it is required? Because in this case we can use the proper proposition logic to represent our knowledge. And inference knowledge, but I can write over here. It supports proposition logics. Please keep in mind proposition logics. I can write over here proposition logic to represent your knowledge. To represent knowledge. That is the reason This is the only reason this would be the most important. So this is the star I'm writing here or marking over here. The region you must be known to. So at the time of interview, anyone can ask you, so what are the various approaches? You will speak simple relational knowledge, inheritable knowledge, and why inference knowledge is more important. So this is the reason because it supports the proposition logic. And what are the proposition logics? So we will see and we will know in this part right now. Proposition logic, we can use the various proposition logic, and then we will apply the predictive logic as well to understand. So inference knowledge will be more equal, and that part we will see into the knowledge representation by using the proposition logic or predictive logic. That part we will see in the next class. But before that, you must be known to what are the approach. From that part, we will expand this approach in detailed way in the next class. So that is the reason. Now it is clear to all right now. This part we will see in the detail, but theoretical point should be clear.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. And the last one, the procedural knowledge. So procedural knowledge, nothing which supports only the some rules and regulation. We just what you will do. This procedural knowledge is just like similar to this one. Just do not read unnecessary. I can speak in simple way. We have a for a problem. So what I'm doing, I'm dividing the my problem into the sub problem, that is A2, A1, and this one, and A3. So if A is a problem, so what I'm doing, because A is a problem, so what I'm doing, I'm dividing my problem into a sub problem. So why it is required? The reason is clear. I can easily troubleshoot any problem if it's coming into the such procedure, and this is known as the modular approach. This is known as the modular approach in programming. It's known as the modular approach. So if in this A2 just having some problem, suppose A2 is not functioning properly, so I will not touch A1 and A2. I will see or I will troubleshoot any problem which are occurring by only the A2. So this is what I am doing the many procedure. Okay. And in this case, I can apply the many of the rules and many of the things. So from this point, you can easily understand. So with small programs and code, we will focus, and that is a good way. You will not sort out the problem by the single program, writing the long code. You can do, but if you're having any problems, so troubleshoot is not easy. So procedural knowledge will help you to. You just do one thing. Just you can make your problem into the sub problem, and you can easily sort out. Let me take an example. Let me take an example by the different color, then you will easily understand. Suppose I am just visiting a bank. So in the bank, I can deposit, I can withdraw, I can withdraw, and what amount I'm talking about the amount only, and can also check the balance. Okay. So if I need to check the balance, then I will not go to the withdrawal and deposit counter. If I need to go withdraw some amount, then I will not go to the deposit counter. So this is the reason we can easily sort out the problem. Suppose the wrong this person who need to withdraw the some amount, and he just moving this deposit counter, then there will be no sense. He has to move to the withdrawal counter to withdraw the amount. So this is the reason we can easily troubleshoot. So we know all the things. So this is also identified by the procedural knowledge. But after understanding the procedural knowledge and inferential engine, and then we're talking about the inheritable knowledge and simple relational knowledge. Inferential knowledge will be more important. That part we will see in the next class. And tomorrow we have a next class, so we will see inference knowledge with the help of the knowledge representation in AI by using the proposition logic. Now, tell me right now, you have any problem in these topics? So far we have seen today in theory way. You can ask.
No, sir.
Okay, so just let me know right now from your side if I'm taking